What is the second largest ship-shaped stone circle doing here in one of the 7 plains in Skaraborg? It's 53 meters long, 18 meters wide, and the stones weigh up to 30 metric tons. Well, for the trained eye around here, there's lots more to see than just this place.
The old furrowed road down to the ford over Tidan, and King Helge's mound just next to it. You have Vad's church, which in medieval times were places where kings were writing letters. And there are tales of people going to England in a Viking for plundering, or Englishmen coming by boat up along Tidan. There are finds of slag from iron production, and farmers have found gold in the lake of Östen. And then you have the name of Rane. That name comes back in Askeberga at the raised stones, or with King Rane's mound in Flista, just a few kilometers away.
So who is this Rane, who is supposed to be buried in a mound at Flista church? Well, in 1915 we almost got an answer. The school children and the teacher decided to dig into the mound and have a look at him. And of course, with big enthusiasm, they started that school day.
But they got stopped, and after that they were forced to fill the whole. But they were stopped, and they had to fill the whole trench in again. And this is the last time anybody was digging in the mound of King Rane. This was in 1915. But if you were there, what would you have found? Probably lots of food, animals, maybe falcons for hunting, weapons, all the things you need in life after this. But right now, we just have to wait. Maybe we can dig some other day.
The name Rane, where does it come from? We do have it in the Icelandic sagas, so it's from the Norse period at least. And it seems to be quite common. Even Odin is using it in one point in one of the sagas as a cover when he's walking among people. We can find it around here in several places in Skaraborg at least as place names. So in Ransberg Church, for instance, and it's a story about a giant as well, connected. He is also named Rane. And you have, in the west coast of Sweden, you have Ranrike. That's the northern part of Bohuslän, closest to Norway. And this is a legend or story as well about Rane there. And how he is in a wedding and things doesn't go so well for him. So the name appears here and there, but it seems to be a cluster around this area. And closer than that, we cannot come at the moment, I'm afraid.
But why here? What is here? And it's probably the farming that was one of the keys, together with the waterways. Lake Östen and the 2 rivers Tidan and Östen binds all of this area together. The farming is hard, but if you know what you're doing, it is very productive. The low terrain also make quite a lot of boggy areas, and it's quite good for cattle rearing. So today, the Lake of Östen is a shallow bird lake, a little bit like Hornborgasjön, a bit south. But this has been a big route straight through the countryside, and there are finds of gold, Viking era swords and all sorts of things around this area. It's worth to note that in 16th century there is an old map called Carta Marina, and Vasbo seems to be its own little kingdom. If it's true or not, we don't know, but some researchers think it is. And Rane, how does he fit into all of this? We don't know. We're not even sure if it ever existed. But old graves and old relics of antiquity lie where they are, and they are probably not there by coincidence.
As far as we know, these stones stand in the same place as there once was placed here. On a map from the 1700s, they look just the same, but the name is a bit different. Instead of Rane stones, it says Rane stones. We're not really sure what the difference means. And this place was outcrops for the farm 500 meters away from here. But in each spring, people came here to dance in the evenings. We're not really sure why, but it was just an old tradition that people did. This place have not been dug, but the local society have helped out with caring for the place and also made their best to try and make a few investigations. Ground penetrating radar has shown that this area has had more of the kind of raised stones we can see today, but smaller. They are both in the shape of circles and the shape of small ships. There are also indications of a house and a dam over on the right hand side over here. But unfortunately we can't say in detail what people have done here. This is not as old as the rest of this place. This is a sewer and it was made in 1971. It belongs to the house over there, but while they did this, they did find something interesting. Just on the corner they found a small blast oven. It's an oven made for making iron. It's a very low-tech way of doing it with bog iron. Unfortunately, they never did a C14 carbon date on this place, so we can't really tell when this was made. So as it stands now, Askeberga is still floating very much undated.
In the first period, the superpower day, the Roman Empire, is crumbling. Lots of gold seems to end up here in Skaraborg and in Södermanland. Most of all the gold that are found in Sweden are found in these two areas. Some of the more renowned are the necklaces found in Västergötland, or the Timberholm treasure outside of Skövde of 7 kilos of gold. At this time there are lots of small chiefdoms and clans around the countryside with small kings. This is the mythical era of the Vikings. The time of Beowulf and a battle on the ice of Lake Vänern. Christianity is far, far away, and the Viking gods are all around. If the stones were raised later, around year 1000, we have a completely different world. The map of Europe is redrawn. The Roman Empire is a saga, a myth. The old gods, Odin, Thor and the others, they are gone, more or less. Instead, it's Christ who's the big one. Down on the continent, everybody is Christian. Here, a few people. In the year 900, there is a small Christian assembly 20 kilometers south of here in Varnhem. This is the earliest place in Sweden. This is the place for an early Christian tradition and the earliest one we know about in Sweden. Most of the other places are pagan at this time. Their dead are buried around their church. But if this part is Christian, what about Vadsbo? Do they also have the Christian tradition? Or is Askeberga a part of demonstration to saying that we are not changing? But what if King Rane is one of these old kings who don't want to change while the rest of the world is? Who knows? What we do know is that in the year 1200 there is a thing in a place called Askeberga. It's either here in Askeberga or it could be in Falköping.
So where does Askeberga fit into this story? Who knows? Without digging and proper dating, we can't get any further.
People in this area are very proud of their antiquity. Through the years, the scientists have been interested. Sometimes they noted the potential in the area, but mostly they moved away to other places, usually closer to the university towns. This is completely human, but also very annoying for us who's interested in this place of the world. Here there are still big monuments, graves and ruins, unknown for most people. They are definitely not researched properly. They are relics of a past time. You can only sense the old places of power, the small kingdoms, and all of the things that happened here. A lot is still hidden in the earth. But here and there, in archives, in small museums, in local stories, there are small clues.
And they wait patiently for the curious, or in the forest along the countryside. Immensely beautiful, but also hiding secrets and stories that's just waiting to be found and retold.